what we're talking about throughout this moving the core, or the upper core, so to speak, is the concept of dropping your shoulders, dropping your elbows. And it has at least a couple practical functions, particularly if you're learning a martial art. The aim of martial art, from a protection standpoint, is to protect just about here, not out there, not down there. So most of your movements are not out here. And what it is, it's really moving the shoulders to make this stuff move. And the last minute, the finisher is the hands. So they say the hands go for the ride, because what's happening is you do very seemingly minimal movements at that time. Sometimes you're just setting it up so that when you rotate your shoulders, whether it be coming down or whether it be going up, drop the shoulders, drop the elbows. That's where, and from a practical standpoint, you're taking care of any blow that comes within the proximity of the central part. You're either blocking it this way, or you're blocking it this way. Okay? So, and for us, we adopt the Tai Chi movements, obviously not to learn how to fight, but use the exercise or the physical movement which has been already set up for you to build your body, to coordinate your body. So that's what we're trying to do. So when although we just concentrated on a couple of the maneuvers, look again through all of the 24 and see where move the shoulders, drop the shoulders, drop the elbow type of concept help you. They help you in helping you to center your power, say from a coordination, muscle strength, and centering. You're bringing everything in. You're coming out, and as you get farther out, before you get too far out, what happens? You bring it back in again. One, recycling, but also recentering. So you can you go up this way, come down, recycle, go out this way. Okay, and but one maneuver I want to get clearer again, and I was trying to do that in the last class, and it still applies here. One of it is the grasping the bird's tail. And I want everybody, it's really 4 different maneuvers, and we're going to stop at each maneuver, and I'm going to want you to sort of figure out what are we doing, okay? The first, you hold your ball, and we come out this way. Step out. Ward off. Ward off, what you're trying to do is build a fence. That's, the Chinese refer to it as pang. That's one maneuver. You just want the guy to not get at you. So this should be not like rock, but you have this feeling of extra tone, if you will, so that he can't get in here. So go ahead and let's get to a ball and just come out here. It's not totally relaxed, any which way, doesn't matter. Okay? But when you're there, you should have the feeling like a little bit of, Tai Chi doesn't want to talk about rigidity, but you have a little bit of a tone. You say, I'm setting my boundaries. Okay? And then, what's the next maneuver? You're going to grasp the bird's tail. But when you do the Tai Chi maneuver, you may not grasp that this is just number 1, and you say, okay, we're going to go to number 2. Number 2, then number 2. Sit back. This hand is under here, and this hand is this way. What you're trying to do is you set your hand up. And then the number 2 maneuver is sitting back and just gently moving your arms back. What you're trying to do is guide the person. He's coming at you, but you say, I don't want you to hit me, so I will pull you and guide you. Okay? That's maneuver number 2. So it's a very soft maneuver. And then you say, okay, set up number 3, and then you transfer your body. It comes from here. You're pushing him away. This is a relatively violent maneuver. That's number 3, okay? So, yeah, violent maneuver. Use 2 hands. Don't be nice to the guy. Use 2 hands. You bring it, you come from here. If you wanted to, you could even, what am I doing here? What am I doing here when I do this? See? I come from here, drop the shoulder, drop the elbow. I'm coiled up like a ball. And bang, you let that out. All the way out. Then the 4th maneuver is one where you use both gentle persuasion and force. Gently you come back down. You are directing him downwards until he feels, wow, this guy is going to pull me in this direction. So he decides to pull back. At the moment, just before he decides to pull back, that's when you come out with 2 hands. Okay, you see? And the positions of the hands were just sort of set up, and everything with this and with this, okay? Because you're moving linear, you're also turning, and you're going to push, turning, okay? I want to take a slightly different slant on what was taught. The first one is when you do brush knee, what you want to, well, first of all, Tai Chi can be broken down into, say, in this case, we're talking about 10 forms. You want to get into each form which is as stable as you can get it in a body position that's favorable to maintaining it with the minimum of energy, but with good balance, okay? And then you want to shift to whatever you're going to do from number 1 to number 2, number 2 to number 3. But each number, you are getting into a position of stability, okay? And as Lucille had presented, there are different strategies on which to maintain stability. The first is Tai Chi posture, right? If you're like this, feet are both on the ground, and you slight, not so rigid legs, and back is straight. You just, and your butt is tucked in, so your sacrum is straight down. Your head is put on your shoulders like a golf ball on a pedestal, so it's not sticking out somewhere. It's not a liability, and it just drops, and everything else drops. You're like a marionette just being held by a bunch of string, and this string that the Tai Chi masters like to talk about is the thread from which your head is suspended, and everybody else just drapes. Position of stability. So you're going to do brush knee, okay? You come out here. What's happened? I shifted to here. And then Tai Chi has what we call dantian and substantial versus insubstantial. So the dantian is the main is here, your center of balance. So you're shifting your center of balance so that it is sort of piling down on one leg. So now it becomes substantial. But to make the upper part of the body okay, you have to think about the other minor dantians, the one through the head and one through the chest. They line up so everything's vertical. And your knee is bent and you're here like this, okay? Then you decide, well, I'm going to do brush knee. So I'm here, this is here, this is here. I'm semi-balanced, okay? If I went this way, what would happen? This leg would come up. But if I'm in this position, okay. Then you say, well, I want to go in this direction. So what do? You bring all the energy in. Then you're here, you're at this favorable position. You can do almost anything and stand here because your hands are here, your leg is here, you're balancing off. So you're figuring out, what am I going to do next? Okay, I want to get out in that direction. But I got to make it so, Tai Chi posture makes it so when I turn, my shoulders and my waist are in the same plane, not one twisted there and the other twisted there. Okay, so here, favorable position, head up, Tai Chi posture. I get up, and if I lift my leg, I'm not worrying about that I'm going all over the place. I'm still centered here. Then when I'm ready to go, I lift my leg, I start to put this out, but I just drop down and do this music here, okay? Same thing. Once here, and then you decide, okay, I'm in the right position. I'm wide enough so when I turn, when I turn, I will be soldier position. Shoulder and hips will be in approximately the same position, and my feet will be in that same position. So here, step out and to the side, turn, and now you shift your weight to position number 2. And this is a relatively stable position, okay? Here, 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 balance is here. Then I want to go back the other way. I come back, I shift, stable position. Turn my feet, still stable. Then I shift, and when I shift, I put my hands out here to help me balance, because I am going to be, step out, then you give up your position. Don't give up this favorable position to go to the next until you've taken the time to put your arms or your leg in the position that you want. Favorable, so that it'll make it, if I do this, I'm not going to be in a favorable position, because what happens? See, my hips are over that way, my shoulders are that way, I'm twisted like a corkscrew. Out. I haven't given up anything yet. Now you give up. Okay, so each of the maneuvers that you get into, that posture, is a favorable position to be in. And then you got to learn the strategies of how to use your hands and legs to help your balance and orient yourself to your dantian. What I'd like to do is present Tai Chi a little bit differently. My pet thing is intention. That is, we use the program of Tai Chi as a martial art, and we're trying to, there are different benefits to be gotten, but one of the primary benefits is just the physical benefit, okay? And right now, you're learning how to do sequence, and although we try to explain why and how you do some of the things, most of it that you're learning is by mimic. You just get an approximation of where it's going. And right now, I think the first challenge is to sort of move the feet approximately, and of course, get the hands moving, okay? And the hands getting to move probably are in some ways easier than saying, you've got to move your core and you've got to transfer your energy, okay? And those are the things that are going to be the challenge. And what I'd like to do is just go through the 16 form just to sort of tell you what the core is doing. The core is, normally the core, they talk about, some people say the soma. The Chinese, when they translate their core term to English, they refer to it sometimes as the soma, which is basically the trunk of the body, the biggest parts of the muscles that you have other than your legs, okay? I tend to want to consider the legs almost like part of the core. They're major parts, the biggest muscles in your body, and those are the things that provide strength. But then moving through the Tai Chi movements, we talk about the core, but sometimes it's sort of a nebulous idea. What you're trying to do is not to do this. You are trying to say, if you're doing the cloud hand, this is what's moving, and she tells you. Yeah? The hands go for the ride. See, it just comes out this way, comes out, and it's coming from here as this. This is doing this, but this is driving this arm. And the last bit is the hula dance, okay? But there's meaning to that too. You come out this way, you just drop it, yeah, you can do that. Versus you get more bang for your buck because you open it up. And from a martial arts standpoint, you open it up, you have pinned the person so he can't come at you, and you got one more thing to do. You want to do a single whip. You want to just do a continued cloud hands, grab him and turn him. Okay, so the power comes from sweeping here, coming across. And as you come across, it comes, comes down, and you're coming down this way. You're dropping your shoulder, drop your elbow, and what are you doing? So turning the hips, very important to get the power from your legs, from your feet, up to your legs, up to your hips, up to your core, your trunk, up to the upper core, and then dishing it out, okay? So that's one thing, okay? What I'd like to do is just go through the 16, since that's what we're learning. Even if it's a simple thing as coming out here, and you say, commencing form. You're not just propping your hands up, you are, in your mind, you're saying, I'm moving my body, and you're really thinking about from here, coming all the way up, coming through the back, and this, not this, but this is getting the arms up. And when you're going to drop it down, you don't just drop it down like that. The elbows are dropping, the shoulders are dropping, and what are you doing with your core? You see? That's what you're doing with your core. And then when you get your ball, some of you you do your ball, but it's sort of a very manini ball. It's a real tiny little ball, okay? But the ball is meant to be able to help you center, but also protect you, okay? But it's also a source of winding up, because when you step out, where am I at? I'm here. I'm winding up, and I'm going to let it out, okay? Step back. Get your energy back. Not a manini ball, but everything is sort of coming together, aiming toward here as the center of balance, huh? But it's also accumulating power. So when you stand, you see I'm going to turn my waist, let it out here, okay? White crane, what you're doing is, this happens to be with the 10 or the 24, but the white crane, you're coming out, you're turning, but you're also opening. This part, you're pushing out here. You're not just coming out here beautiful, you are. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to open your opponent, push him away so you could step here just for beauty, but you could be doing this to him, okay? But you have to be able to have the power to come out, okay? This is obviously, from here, some people forget. We're going to go to the brush knee ultimately, but they think this is just like another brush knee. So you come from here, it's another brush knee. It's not another brush knee, it's to practice. Drop down, you're dropping your elbow, you can block, you can elbow somebody, you can, somebody's coming across here, you could probably do that to you. And then you step into the brush knee. Brush knee, you wind up, get yourself in balance, drop down. This is coming, turning your body, this is turning your body. Okay? You just bring it, you're bringing it all back here, let it out. And then you wind up again. Help yourself. You're in the midline, you come in the midline, but you drop here, winding up, Set up your balance, let it out, turn your body, and deliver. Okay? We go through the deflect. Okay, I'll stop. Deflect, parry, and punch. In this case, in the 16 form, come up here. This can form potentially as a block, or you may be hiding something that, although we call it deflect, you could be striking the person. Okay, but this is a block. You step here, you got to turn your body here. Bring it in. Okay? Yeah, bring it in. Parry, punch. Okay, it's all this up here, not all this. Needle to the bottom of the sea. I see people, some people will just come from, what is it? I'll go from the right, I'm much more used to. This hand is unemployed. It's here, blocked down, and it's timing. It's not two hands come down. Okay? Think about how your hand movements, continue learning them, but think what started them. They get from the core and to the core, in and out, in and out. Okay? Good. I'll just touch on a few things. When are you using your core and how are you using your core when you're going through the Tai Chi movements? And it is a martial art form, so the people that use it for that purpose use their core, use their muscles and flexibility, etc. I just want to go through the core. Core, again, is basically the body from hips to waist up to the chest. A lot of people may emphasize this portion, but it's the main part of your body, and the rest are the extremities. The only other thing in my mind that really contributes a lot from the standpoint of core in terms of power and mobility is the legs. The leg muscles are the biggest muscles in your body. And so Tai Chi pays a lot of attention to that. But I want to just go through some places. Maybe you might not suspect that you're using the core. If you're doing commencing form, you should be employing the core, okay? You're from here, just watch, okay? You're coming here, and from here, you don't just push it up here. What you should be thinking about is generating the power from the upper shoulder girdle, okay? So if you're doing it, and you just sort of say, I'm going to push from my back. Should pull it back to my back. Go ahead and try that. Think about here, not your hands. Think about core from the back. It's coming from the back, up, push from the back, and then you drop your elbows, drop your shoulders. You're not bringing your hands back, you just let your hands drop down. Go ahead one more time. Push from the back, up. You may get the feeling like your hands are almost semi-floating. And that's how it should be. If it's coming out here and you're feeling it in your fingers, you're probably not, you're doing this as opposed to from underneath. So that's one, okay? When you form your ball, you step in, you've got to make yourself substantial. You bring the ball in, be a little bit expansive. It's not bring the ball here. When we first learned, you said, okay, make the ball, and then up, everybody pops their hand up here. But it's bringing things in. See, bring it from this position, drop one hand, and then you shift position, but you're bringing it in. And it's, this stuff is bringing it in. Not here, it's when you come back out, step out, what's going to bring this hand out here? It's going to be the turn of your body, turn of your core, but you're also going to be, as you turn, the energy is coming, it's going to come up here, and it's this, okay? It's not, although we teach you, have a snack, it's, have a snack as I push you away. Okay? And it's coming from this position, steps out, shift weight, turn. And this is doing this. Okay? And then when you have nothing else to do but the next form, you collect your energy again. It's coming in. Okay? Another one is cloud hands. Cloud hands. Everybody loves cloud hands because all you're doing is your hands. But cloud hands, like she says, like Lucille says, is the hands go for the ride. You could just stay here and this is cloud hands. Except you add the hands. It's, you are rolling your shoulders just like we practice. But you don't roll it up here, because you roll it up here, the Tai Chi guy says your chi is stuck. But if you look at it from a martial arts standpoint, your options are trapped here. You're up here, and somebody's going to hit you further up here. You can't go up any higher, okay? Or you can't, you're sort of stuck. Versus if you're, you could come from here, you could just go. But what, did you see my shoulder go up? Or my elbow go up? No, it went in a circle. So when you do your cloud hands, it's, you are turning your waist, you're turning your shoulders from hip, waist, shoulder. You're going to, this is the shoulder portion. You can block this way, you can come around this way, but it's what's happening. It's down here and it's not up here. So you don't want to be, you want to be. And the other purpose of that is if you happen to be here, oh, I'm not too high, but this guy's going to hit me here, I may have to come across. So you're always, your elbows are protecting you, your shoulders, drop your elbows, but that also provides the power transfer. As you turn, you're using your core, okay? I think that the one that you always see, and it does show the use of coordinating of the core is the brush knee, right? Step forward. You haven't transferred your energy, but you're going to transfer your energy linear. You're going to transfer rotational. Rotational is where a lot of the power is coming from. Advanced rotational. And the other portion is you're from here, you don't come up here, and here you are drop the shoulders, drop the elbows, advance and turn. So you see that? Okay. What? Needle in the bottom of the sea is I think it's the thing I want to remind people, and I saw that in the previous class, I didn't see it here. It's like a joke. There's no such thing as unemployment in Tai Chi. All the body moves. So you're coming from here, step, this hand comes down for a block. It's not unemployed where you're going to do this. And they don't come down together. they, they come up, this one, this one. This one starts, and then this starts, and by the time this ends, blocking, you either a sweep block or you push down block. Then the second hand comes down and the thrust, okay? So it's not just, But as you do your Tai Chi, think about what is beyond the movement of the hands. That's where the core comes in. Another thing is, I think I said this before, one of the masters says, no matter which move you do, there is some element of movement of the waist. And that's the transfer point from here to up here. Great effort, all of you, great effort. Each is progressing in their own way, and it's great. Continue. Perseverance is the key. Not how well you do it when you first start, but it's perseverance and try to develop whatever you have to whatever you're going to be. What I want to do is just go over some of the basics when we do the 10 form. And it applies to a lot of the basics of Tai Chi. You can learn all the different sequences and where the arms and legs go, but there are some basic things that you need to have. One of it is you have to stay in sort of a Tai Chi posture. You cannot come from this position, come out, ward off, and you're out of Tai Chi position, okay? You don't want to be too far out so that your central power is out in left field somewhere. There is no power when you're out here. It's done, okay? So with the grasping the bird's tail, the first movement is ward off. And most of us, by the time we get to this position, we're petered out as far as what the intention of this maneuver is. This maneuver is to say, this is my perimeter wall. You will not get in here, you will not get in here. But when we go out here, we lose the power. So it's from this position, stand out, here. That's about as far, maybe some people can go this high, but this is as far as you can go, okay? And the feet are flat. Not this way, one foot up, one foot. Yours, remember, the key to your stability is being flat on the ground most of the time, or at least one leg has to be substantial, and you never see a substantial position on the toes. They are down flat. You may see something like this, insubstantial. Insubstantial can be any old way because there is barely any weight, but everything is stuck here, so you cannot. One here, both feet are down. You don't want to be this way because one, you're out of Tai Chi position, and two, you're even asking for more instability, even though you say, I am substantial here, but you're out of posture as opposed to straight up, okay? And in the 10 form and in other form, one of the basics is make sure you maintain substantiality. You distinguish between the substantial and the insubstantial, because that's the key. In the 10 form, you're in this position and you spend your time doing this, okay? Substantial, twist form, substantial still, okay? But you're placing your foot in different ways, and in order to allow that to happen in the way you want, you have to keep your substantiality long enough so you can place the foot where you want to do, when you want it. In the 10 form, we do this, and the key is stay here on this side And then take the time to turn out, away from here, because otherwise you don't make a proper L form. Yeah? This is not a proper L form where you just slot right here. And that's the temptation when you don't say, I got to stay home. You could if you were doing it, but then you would still be doing it in proper substantiality, and you intentionally drop here. What happens then is you transfer your form. That's okay. This is okay. But the minute you try to do this, you're not too stable, and you're not able to deliver your power in a perpendicular position. You need to substantial, stay home substantial, step out and to the back. So you have a proper L form so that when you come out, comes forward, what happens to my shoulder? I can square to that direction. So in that sense, keep substantial until you can place the foot where you want to place it. Okay? And don't go way out here. If you think from a martial arts standpoint, if you're way out here and somebody punches you here, it's a lot longer distance to get from here to here than from here to try to get somebody to block them. So that's the practical aspect. But we're not teaching that. But just as a guideline, all your movements are around this little halo, not farther out here, not out here, just about here. Okay? Another thing is peculiar to grasping the bird's tail. Yeah? Step out here. You can turn, you should turn your waist, but you don't have to go way out here. When you go way out here, what happens? Same principle. The guy can attack you from 3/4 and you're in bad trouble, versus you're from here, turn a little bit. And the intention of this maneuver is not to, it's here, form my wall. I'm going to change my hand position, and all I have to do is turn my waist to get, so I can grab the person, grasping the bird's tail. You grab the opponent's wrist, you grab his elbow, and then from there you pull him right down. And you turn and you pull him down using your body, not, you grab, not quite straight arm, but this is coming down a little bit. A lot of it is coming with your body. Okay? Here, turn, push out, come down, but don't lose your power this way. Come down, up. See, you expended the effort to come down. Sit back, right? Sit back. Your power, you're coiled here. So if you go this way, you sort of lose the energy. Here, you're already coiled to just rock it right up. Okay.
So I want to just show you another way of what the points that Ken mentioned. So he sees a lot more going on than I do at this point, but you can see what's happening. 2 feet are on the ground, one forward, 145, which is fine. But what happens? If I follow my, okay, 2 things, okay. One, if I follow my forward hand, I've lost my finger, my backbone, and I've tilted it forward, so I'm going to fall. So how do you rectify that is keep your Tai Chi posture straight up. Knee never went beyond the toe. Once the knee goes beyond the toe, I'm going to fall. Okay, that's one. And then he pointed out something really important, okay? See if you can follow me with really good observation and hearing. When you take an L stance, do not flatten this foot and do not transfer the weight. The energy you did nicely by storing it in the back foot, and you showed me by flexing. This is not storing energy, and I think we've gotten away with it. This is storing it. The energy has to come through the whole system and then out. It cannot, this is an insubstantial, weightless foot. All we're doing is coming out and to the side on an L, but the energy is still here. You cannot flatten this foot because the energy has to come this way and out, then this way. But the reason why I'm going over this is because if you should flatten first and then move, you're going to have knee problems. So how does that work? This is the insubstantial. You keep it insubstantial until the energy grows through your system. If you come out here and then in the process flatten this thing, you're torquing your knee by turning it this way. You want to keep the knee as free as possible then to transfer and come down. But once you give up that weight and come down, this knee is stressing to come down and turn. So understand that and then just take it simply. That when you're on a T, can you follow me? If when you're on a T, you root it down on the right. The insubstantial is the left foot that has no weight and only foot that can move until the energy comes around and gives it energy. Weightless foot, T stance, L stance. The energy has to travel through the core and then it comes down. Then it sits back, then it twists, it roots down, it takes its turn to store the energy. Right becomes a weightless foot. It comes out on an L, energy transfers through the system, and then it flattens down. So you say, I know that. That's what we've learned. But what happened is that in grasping of the bird's tail, you're now emphasizing what you have to do. You have to ward off, you have to turn, you have to reposition, you have to do this, and you have to do that. So what happens? Your feet give way. So go back to the feet work and keep that really, really strict, and then put your upper body to work. Okay, so as you can see, that in an hour's time, there's still stuff to learn, still stuff to know and to correct. But that's the nature of Tai Chi. It's ongoing for all of us, no matter how long we've been doing Tai Chi. I can give you many, many examples, and people in excess of 30, 40, 50 years are still learning. So what does this tell us? It's an ongoing journey. We're learners for life, okay? And with the more we learn, the better we are in gaining benefits. And it's okay for what you have now, but just make sure that you are laying a good platform and building on it, okay?